Hey everybody, movie review next door here, and today I saw Shattered from 2022. Now, why did I get this Blu-ray if I had never seen the film before? Well, I was already shopping on eBay that day, and it was one of those like, oh, get 5 movies, get 5 free, and most of the movies were $10, and I was like, oh, it's a newer movie for $5. That's not bad. Um, and I was curious because of the director and cast. But yeah, today's film is, of course, Shattered from 2022, starring Cameron Monaghan, Lily Krug, Frank Grillo, Sasha Luss, and John Malkovich. Now, this is a type of erotic thriller, which was a bigger genre in the 80s and 90s, some in the early 2000s, but not a ton. The ones that come to mind would be Twisted, which I recently reviewed, which I wasn't big on at all, and Unfaithful, which I fucking love. I love Unfaithful. I might even put it above Fatal Attraction, even. But, films like Hand That Rocks the Cradle, Misery, I wouldn't say that was erotic. I don't think there was any sex in that. But usually movies where it's like, oh, guy has sex with a random woman he meets, she turns crazy, and the tables get turned, which is a big thing. I'm surprised more of these haven't been done nowadays, given the whole like feminist movements and all that. And I'm glad that this film doesn't really take that route. In the special features, Sasha Luss and Lily Krug talk about that a bit, but I didn't really see it as that. I think they're kind of just saying it because pretty much every movie that has a strong female character has to mention it. Hurricane Heist did it. Twisted did it in the special features. Frickin' Peppermint. Anna, of course, also Sasha Luss. But yeah, this film, I don't, I don't hate it. I think it's decent. It definitely could have done a bit more with the premise. But yeah, the film, it's about this guy named Chris Decker, recently divorced. Still has yet to sign the divorce papers. He's divorced from his wife, played by excuse me, I've been a bit sick today. Played by Sasha Luss, and they're having, well, I mean, he clearly doesn't want to leave her. She left him because he stayed on the business side of things and was barely there for them. Sorry if you hear a cat. I think one of our cats is in heat. But yeah, and he basically that night goes out to a grocery store and meets Sky, played by Lily Krug. And they kind of just hit it off. She's like, I don't want to go back to my apartment. They go back to his place, and then they have sex, and yeah, that's and then later, Chris, well, they get to know each other more because he knows that she works at a bar, and his car's about to get stolen, and he gets his leg broken by the guy trying to steal it, and then she becomes his nurse. Everything seems fine up until a certain breaking point where she kind of goes crazy, and it's even suspected that she killed her roommate. And I mean, it's not a spoiler to say this. She straight up says it that she did. And when I get to the pros, I will get to how they did that and how I feel about it. But yeah, this is an attempt to try to bring this type of film back. There were a few attempts at this type of film. I forgot what, I think it was Screen Gems that did like The Perfect Guy, When the Bow Breaks, which I did see the When the Bow Breaks. I thought it was okay. It worked for what it was supposed to do. I didn't mind the actress Jess Sinclair, I think. There's the one with Idris Elba and Taraji P. Henson. But yeah, it's like those films. This film doesn't really focus on the erotic standpoint that much. I'm kind of glad because some of those films, like the way Unfaithful did it, I was the sex scenes were at least like nice to watch because you could tell Diane Lane and Olivia Martinez had great chemistry, and it looked like they were enjoying themselves, and they were actually hot to watch, which is nice in a erotic thriller. Um, Another I don't hear many people talk about The Specialist with Sylvester Stallone and Sharon Stone. I didn't mind that film. I think it's a fun, decent action thriller with some erotic. Um, but yeah, this is a genre that I find very interesting. How people do it, their own twists on it, and I was very curious because of the director. Who is the director, you might ask? His name is Luis Prieto. Now, probably no one knows who this director is because most of his films have very mixed receptions. He did the remake of Nicholas Winding Refn's film Pusher. I have not seen that. I have the original Pusher on Blu-ray, but he did the remake and then he did Kidnap with Halle Berry. That was a child abduction thriller, and I think that's one of Halle Berry's better performances. Though pretty much every critic said it was a piece of shit, the action was horribly shot. I don't agree with that. I think it's a pretty decent. No, I thought it was a good film. I thought it was a really good film. Um, I liked the pace. I liked the emotion. Halle Berry is a big plus for a film like that, and I buy her as a mother. It tried to be more down to earth and realistic, which is nice for a film like that. Which is probably why I'd take it over Taken, because I don't mind Taken. I think it's good, but the kind of godlike things that Liam Neeson does, kind of, I was like, didn't really hit me in the nerves. But yeah, I do like this director. This film has a really decent visual style. Apparently, the budget of the film was around. IMDb said 1 million. I doubt that it's that. That's what I put in my review, but my guess would be more like 5 million, something like that. But yeah, the film looks nice. It looks very well made. There's some nice editing choices, some nice shots, especially around the house, and like there's some cool shots through a telescope that are very nice to see. But yeah, it's a well shot, well produced film. No noticeable like CG enhancements or anything. There was probably some CG blood, but for the most part, I think it was practical. Because there's a scene where a character gets killed with a katana, and it's pretty surprisingly bloody for a film like this. They usually don't go all out on gore or blood, but it's pretty brutal to watch a bit. It didn't like hit me in the nerves or anything, but it was pretty bloody. Um, I guess I'll get to the actors. Cameron Monaghan as Chris Decker. I've never seen this actor before. At first, I thought, oh, is he related to Michelle Monaghan? Because I really like Michelle Monaghan, but I don't think he is. He did a good job playing this kind of reclusive hermit. He kind of just likes to stick to himself. He kind of like sold his company and got the money from it, so he's kind of living in the mountains, reclusive, that kind of thing. He plays it well. He has some nice moments of emotion, especially in the parts where he's being held hostage. Lily Krug as Skye, I had a couple issues with her. I think she was at least decent, but for the first at least 5 minutes, I guess, that she was on screen, she's very obviously dubbed. And the dub voice sounds a bit weird. Now, hearing her actual voice in the behind the scenes, I think it was her that dubbed it. My guess is that when they filmed, she had like a cold or something, so they decided to redub her. because it probably sounded off, but the dubbing sounds pretty natural against the like other sounds. So they did a good job with the like layering and stuff, but her voice at first does come off a bit weird. But for the most part, she plays the crazy bitch character fine. Um, Especially there's the part he where Chris sees on the news that her roommate, excuse me, is now dead, and she just straight up says, uh, what he says, you should probably call the cops, and she said that would be a terrible idea on my part, and then he says, well, why? And she said, because I killed her, and the way she just like straight up says it, I think that was an interesting choice, and it did actually make me a bit tense because I was like, oh, she just straight up knows that he knows, so uh, she's just like fuck it, which that's a that was a well done tense moment. There are some well done tense moments in this film. Um, but yeah, I think she did all right. Um, Shit, my phone turned off. Frank Grillo as Sebastian. Did they ever name his character? Um, he doesn't show up until an hour into this hour and 30-minute movie. Uh, and without the credits, it's about an hour and 27 minutes. He's probably in the movie 10 minutes, really? 10 to 15 minutes. Uh, but yeah, he's fine. Not really much to say. He's literally like the second biggest face on the cover. In apparently a lot of these Lionsgate grindstone produced movies, they do get like Frank Grillo for like a day for shooting, and they get his scenes out of the way. That's apparently what happened on Cosmic Sin, the Bruce Willis movie that I interviewed the guy about. Um, but yeah, he's there. John Malkovich as Ronald. He's like the landlord of Sky and her friend. He's there also playing. I mean, I love John Malkovich. I love actors like that. He's kind of just on autopilot a bit. I hate to say that, but that's how he is in a lot of these types of films. Um, he's just the pervert. Uh, and he's kind of just disposable. But yeah, and Sasha Luss. Sasha Luss, I hope she gets to be in more movies, like in the leading role, because she was in Anna, the Luc Besson film, and I think so many people were super uh, against that movie when it came out because of the allegations from San Van Roy, which I don't think anything ever came of that. I don't know if she ever proved the allegations, because as far as I know, Luc Besson hasn't done anything wrong, other than like people not understanding how age laws work in France. I mean, not that he's not creepy. I mean, sure, he's creepy a bit, but as far as I know, he has not raped any women. But I won't get into that right now. That'll be another video for another time. But yeah, Sasha Luss was in Anna. I really liked her in Anna. That was her first leading role, and I hope to see her in more action films because she killed it in the action scenes in that film. She did pretty much everything by herself, so I do want to see her in more. She's the wife. She's not in it that much. I do wish she was in it more. I kind of would have liked to have seen her as the villain. I think that would have been a very interesting casting choice instead of being like this whole introducing Lily Krug thing. Because I guess she's a model or something. I don't know anything about her, but yeah. Get the pros out of the way. The film looks nice. The film looks very well made, especially for the small budget that I guess is the budget. The acting, for the most part, is pretty good. Nothing really ever took me out of the movie except for at the beginning, Lily Krug's dubbing. Decent amount of tension for this type of film. Really, you can tell the director knows what he's doing with building tension, especially with the shots used. The musical choices work well. The score. I have to look up who did the score. The score was pretty decent. Okay, there were visual effects. Okay, Tom Howe. But yeah, there's 3 visual effects people. Yeah, the visual effects work well. I'm guessing it's mostly just CG blood at a couple points and CG fire. There was a CG fire that it didn't really like stick out, but I was like, something looks a bit weird. It didn't like take me out of it. Cons. I do wish the film did a bit more with the relationship between Lily Krug and Frank Grilla's characters. Maybe build up the relationship between Cameron Monaghan and Lily Krug a bit more. Would have made the point where she goes against him hit a bit harder. Maybe like 10 more minutes of them being together or something. I don't think it would have killed the pacing of the film too bad. I wish Frank Grillo was in it more, because I do like Frank Grillo as an actor. Not aside from what I've heard about him as a person, he's a good actor. I also wish John Malkovich did more, but I mean, he's kind of one of those actors that just pops up in these types of films. Again, another con. I wish Sasha Luss was in the Lily Krug role. I think she could have done that role very well, especially given her appearance. I think it would have been a bit more believable than supermodel Lily Krug, even though Sasha Luss is also a model. But yeah, it's still a decent watch. I'm not expecting anybody to be like 10 out of 10. I'm more just being like, okay, give it a chance. You know, it's not going for an Oscar. It's not going for any awards. It's trying to be a fun diversion. At the very least, I can say it's a time waster. I don't think I'll ever watch it again. But yeah, it's a alright watch. Hope everybody enjoyed the review. Like, comment, hit the notification bell, whatever, and movie review next door out.